In the early morning of January 15th, 1947, a discovery was made in a quiet Los Angeles neighborhood that would etch itself into the annals of horror. A body, so mutilated, so grotesque, it defied comprehension. Her name was Elizabeth Short, but the world would come to know her as the Black Dahlia. It was just after 10 a.m. when Betty Bersinger, a local mother, walked with her young daughter along Norton Avenue. She spotted what she thought was a discarded mannequin, pale, broken, lying in the grass. But as she drew closer, her stomach churned. This was no mannequin. Elizabeth Short's body had been sliced in two with surgical precision. Her torso lay separated from her lower half, a clean cut through her abdomen. Her blood had been completely drained, leaving her skin a ghostly white. Her face, once beautiful, was now a nightmare. A grotesque smile had been carved from ear to ear, her lips slashed open in a permanent, mocking grin. The Los Angeles Police Department descended on the scene, but the killer had left little to work with. No blood stained the ground beneath her, meaning she'd been murdered elsewhere, cleaned and dumped like a discarded doll. Her body had been scrubbed with gasoline, erasing fingerprints, destroying evidence. Whoever did this wasn't just a killer. They were a phantom. Elizabeth was only 22, a dreamer who'd come to Hollywood chasing stardom. Instead, she found something far darker. Her past was pieced together. Born in Boston, a drifter in California, known for her raven black hair and love of dark clothing. The press dubbed her the Black Dahlia, a name borrowed from a noir film, turning her tragedy into a headline. But the horror didn't end with her death. Days later, the killer began to play a game. A package arrived at the Los Angeles Examiner. Inside, Elizabeth's birth certificate, photos, and a chilling note scrawled in cut-out letters. Here is Dahlia's belongings. Letter to follow. More letters came. Taunting, cryptic, some signed Black Dahlia Avenger. One promised to turn himself in, only to vanish into silence. The police chased shadows, over 150 suspects from drifters to doctors, but the trail grew cold. The precision of the cuts suggested a surgeon or butcher, yet no one fit the puzzle. The autopsy revealed horrors beyond the obvious. Elizabeth had been tortured before death, bound, beaten, her body marked with cigarette burns. Her stomach held traces of feces forced down her throat in her final moments. The killer hadn't just taken her life, they'd stripped her of every shred of dignity. Her legs were spread, her arms raised in a grotesque tableau, a pose meant to shock, to linger in the minds of those who found her. The mutilation wasn't random, it was a message, but to whom and why? 78 years later, the Black Dahlia case remains unsolved. Theories abound, jealous lovers, Hollywood insiders, even a serial killer hiding in plain sight. Books, films, and podcasts dissect her story, but the truth stays buried. Elizabeth Short became more than a victim. She became a legend, her severed soul haunting Los Angeles forever. Whoever carved her apart took more than her life. They took her closure. Somewhere in the shadows of history, the Black Dahlia Avenger laughs. And we'll never know why. Some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to haunt us.